17 in your notes is where we will begin. Page 17 notes, bottom slide. We left off with some rules for whole numbers and basic fraction rules, the visual representations of fractions in the previous video. Now we're going to talk about multiplication and how to multiply. So I'm going to teach you just how to do it, and then I'll hopefully show you why it works out to be the way that it does when we do multiply. Well, here's the how-to, that bottom slide on 17. This just tells you how to, what to do if you're trying to multiply fractions. The first thing you need to do is just multiply the numerator straight across to get the brand new number on top, the new numerator, the new top number. Now, I want to pause here and say there is something else we would do before this that I'm going to teach you later. This is just the basic rule if you have to multiply fractions. The two numerators multiplied make your new numerator, and then the same thing for the bottom number. The two denominators multiplied will give you your new bottom number for you. So that's pretty straightforward on how to do multiplication. And we'll go to the next page, look at a couple of examples. 2/3 times 1/5. Okay, going to multiply that. You just go 2 times 1. It's your new top number, 2. Same thing, bottom numbers, 2/15. There it is. 2/3 times 1/5 is 2/15. The next one, 4 times 2, if you're working that bottom problem, 4 times 2 is 8. And 5 times 3 is 15. And again, just a reminder about the videos, make sure you're hitting pause as necessary for you to get things down, or if you want to work ahead and then go back and watch and see if you're doing it right, it's also an option if that works best for you. And then let's take a look at this slide at the bottom of page 18. And let me explain what I'm trying to do here. I want you just to see why this works, why it works out this way. Let's say I have 3/4 times 3/5. Okay, here's what it means. Let's take a look at this rectangle. The rectangle is one whole. What I'm going to do is, since I want to multiply 3/4 first, I'm going to divide this rectangle up into 4 parts. Now, forgive my poor drawing skills, then you have to use your imagination and pretend that those 4 slices are all equal size. Okay, so I did the best I could there, and let's pretend that that's the case. So what I need, what I have right now is I have 4 parts. And this says I'm going to multiply, and I have 3 of them. I have 3 out of 4. So I'm going to go down here and pick a different pen color. I think it'll give you a nice visual. I'm going to go with blue. Let's say that the blue represents the first fraction that I have. I have 3 parts out of 4. Okay, so that represents 3/4. Okay, now I'm going to multiply that times 3 out of 5. So here's what I have to do. I'm going to divide the rectangle this way into 5 parts. Okay, let's ignore, for just a moment, ignore what I just drew. And I'm going to do my best to get about 5 equal parts. There's 2 equal parts. There's 3 almost equal parts. And there's 4 and 5. I didn't do a great job there. But again, let's pretend I drew that perfectly even. So now what we have is a whole bunch of rectangles that are all equal sizes in here. Okay, even though it's not really that way, let's pretend it is. All right, I'm going to change colors again. Let's get, how about green will show up. Now, for the green, I'm going to show 3/5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it says I have 3 out of that 5. So I'm going to shade this way. Ignore the black lines for the moment. Ignore the black and blue. There's 1 part. There's 2 parts. There's 3 parts. So what you have here, see at the very bottom, if I can squeeze it in here, you have 3/5. Okay, that's 3/5. So the question is, how many overlap? In other words, how many squares are there where I have blue and green? And if you count them up, you have 9. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Notice I didn't count this one because it doesn't have blue, or this one or this one. None of these on the bottom have blue. Over here, this row and this row don't have any green. So I have 9 fractions, or 9 parts, and then consider the question, how many total squares are there? Remember, it's parts to whole. How many parts do I have total to make up one whole rectangle? I have 20. So this fraction represents, whoops, I just lost all my pictures, but you've still got it on your paper, hopefully. 9 out of 20. I thought it was going to come up on the screen there for me. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 5 is 20. There. And you just saw the picture. Hopefully you got it down. If not, rewind the tape and go back and look at it if you want to. All right. But that's a visual. That's what's happening when you multiply fractions. You're dividing one thing into 2 parts there. Think of it horizontally and vertically and seeing what you have left over. So this is actually a really good question right here. The resort hotel uses 2/3 of its extra land for recreational purposes. Of that, 1/2 is used for swimming pools. Okay, so essentially what you have here is, again, you have a rectangle that is divided into thirds, where you have 2 of them. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. I did that wrong, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to erase that. Hold on. I'll try that again. Okay. Rectangle. 1/3, 2/3. I have 1, 2 out of 3 is what I have. Sorry, I drew that wrong the first time. And then of that, you have 1/2. I'll change my colors here just so you can hopefully make more sense of it. I have 1, 2 up and down. So if I have 1 out of 2, okay, there's 1 row, 1 column out of 2. So the number that overlap are 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 out of 6. Okay, so basically you have 1/2 of 2/3. Now here's a trick for you. Usually in math, the word of means to multiply. So if you multiply 1 times 2, you would get 2. 2 times 3, you would get 6, which is what we came up with in our picture there. So again, the word of, that's a good lesson for you. The word of usually means multiply. Not always, but usually means multiply in math questions. Okay, let's look at one more, and then I think that'll wrap up the fraction applications for us. Yes, you have a tile, a certain size of tile, and the size of the tile is 4/9 by 2/9. Okay, so essentially you have a rectangle, small piece of tile that you're building a table with. One side is 2/9, one side is 4/9. Okay, it says, well, what's the area? Well, remember we learned that the area is equal to the length times the width. So all we're doing in this question is 2/9 times 4/9, multiply across. 2 times 4, 8, 9 times 9, 81. I should note that it was in feet, so we label that feet squared or square feet, but it can be labeled this way, and that is how we would solve that question at the bottom of page 19. So again, if you need to go back on this, make sure you're able to multiply or apply it. Go back and review what you need to. Bring your notes to class, and we'll pause here and get going on the next video shortly.